Oh, so that's where they might have gotten the high five thing from this movie, where in the animated version they basically put a high five and they match palms, and that sparks the romantic relationship. At least in the Disney movie. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Mike, and what we do here is we watch movies from the 1920s to the 1970s mostly. That's not to say that we don't check out movies from other decades and eras and stuff, but the main thing for this channel is 1920s through 1970s. The reason why I do this is because I know what our grandparents or our great grandparents or even our great 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 grandparents had before what we do today, and maybe I can find some commonalities between the two. Um, and I do find that it's a bit more surprising too to actually watch these older films, because there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't be done today and it wouldn't be made in the same way. And I really want to showcase that on this channel as well. That's why I watch these movies, these older movies, because I just feel like um, they don't get talked about as much, and they really do deserve to be talked about in the same manner as the other um, pop culture movies and TV shows today that we talk about. So, with that, that's what this channel is about. I haven't said it for a few videos. I just wanted to kind of go back to um, that time, and we actually do have a special request today. This was from a viewer um, who requested that I do this movie. So we're actually going to follow up on that request today, and we're going to watch Tarzan the Fearless. I do not know much about this film. All I know is that it came out in 1933, and that is Tarzan. The only other Tarzan movie that I watched is Disney's 1999 Tarzan, and then the thought crossed my mind that I've seen two Tarzan movies, but that movie was the live action version of, yeah, for some reason George of the Jungle, for some reason in my mind, got cross-wired with uh, being a second Tarzan movie that I watched. No, the only Tarzan movie that I've actually seen is the Disney 1999 Tarzan, and possibly the sequel to that movie as well. I think I've seen it once. If you guys do have a um, request or want me to look at a movie and possibly do it on the channel, type it down in the comments below. I'll add it to the list, and when I have time to get around to it, I will um, look at it and see if it is something that I can do or something that I can do much later. So, with that in mind, guys, just comment down below about what movies you want to see, and I'll see if I can get around to them. But without any further ado, guys, let's get into this viewer requested movie, Tarzan the Fearless, 1933. It's kind of interesting that we open up with him swinging on a vine. Now, why did he do that? That's kind of a weird sight to behold, the deer. Okay, so he protects against threats and saves animals that need saving.
Nothing could be worse than waiting at Durango for news of Dad.
You take letter to my daughter.
Wild white man live around here.
Something about a wild white man raised by a
Hooey.
Hooey. It's Hooey, huh? Oh, there's more than one now. I think that was a cut right there. I thought Tarzan was supposed to be like able to kind of communicate with animals, not directly, but or kind of stand the crocodile down, and that way he wouldn't have to kill them, the animals.
Are you Tarzan? My picture? Then you see my father. Oh, please take me to camp.
Your father's directions are very clear. By sundown tomorrow, he'll be safe with us. If this guy Tarzan knows where there's that much gold, why don't he buy himself a pair of pants?
Okay, so that answers one of the questions. Is it did have text saying about the legends, but I didn't think they were here for Tarzan. But that seems to be the objective now, is to either capture or just talk to Tarzan about where this money is being stored, if there is any money, that is.
Does this mean anything to you? Wait, I want to talk to you.
From your father's description, this must be the hut.
Dad! Oh, Daddy! Father's cut, but he's gone.
Something about a temple and a treasure chamber. Look, here's a map showing the way.
That's better than getting Tarzan, ain't it? But you've got the idea.
Bought by the rescued by Tarzan.
We'd better get our stuff under cover.
So the rain seems kind of heavy, or it kind of looks like milk a little bit, just to me. I know it's not actually milk, but it does kind of look like that at a certain point. Yep. She's fine. Okay, I thought maybe she was more unconscious than she was.
My father. Do you know where he is?
Let's take the map and go after the emerald.
Oh, the map page is torn out.
Here's the map that Dad used.
Okay.
And it may interfere.
The white girl is unharmed.
He will bring us a fortune in gold. This will confuse them. It will lead to the caves of Zan while we go north.
kind of sped up the footage. That's kind of nice. Oh, so that's where they might have gotten the high five thing from this movie, where in the animated version they basically put a high five and they match palms, and that sparks the romantic relationship. At least in the Disney movie.
Stole that map.
I like the different shots of the line, even though they're not the same shot.
Here's your map, Bob.
I am seeking no treasure.
Prepare him for sacrifice.
That's me. Let me send word to my daughter.
Basically, each time we have music or something, you have the loud pop.
Well, this is the entrance if this map is right. God of the Emerald Singers. I didn't think it possible.
Oh, in Africa, even dreams come true. Dar.
Dar? Well, that's where my father is.
Wait. I promised no one would touch those emeralds.
I promise nothing.
I would not do that. I would not take those.
Come. We better get out of here.
Even if he told me not to, I wouldn't take them.
Everything is different now. You thought you loved Bob. Then Tarzan. You can learn to love me.
Oh, really?
Promise to marry me when we reach the coast, or I'll collect that 10,000 pounds.
No, I won't.
I will avenge this blast.
The savages broadcast messages for hundreds of miles. And this one means trouble.
I bet you're just basing that off of the sound of the drums. I doubt he actually knows anything about what it actually means.
You caused all this trouble by stealing that emerald.
I'm sorry I only had time to take one. The largest emerald in the world. And flawless.
Mary!
I've kept my word and spared Tarzan's life.
Surely you don't want a wife who doesn't love you?
It's enough that I love you.
To save Tarzan, I promised to marry Jeff.
And you expect her to keep that promise?
I certainly do.
Thank you. Thank you. Till they get the final stone back.
But there's a map that shows the way. I know where that map is. We'll exchange it for our freedom.
Very well.
I thought he got out of the way. Thought he got out of the way of it in time. And it did because we can see his face.
Tarzan! Jeff's killing him!
He's not dead, Bob.
Here I am, Jeff.
Now that.
Tarzan's heir to a large estate in England. There was 10,000 pounds in it for clearing the title. For killing Tarzan. Exactly. Mary, if he was badly wounded several days ago, by this time he may
Don't
be...
say it, Bob. Oh, Daddy. What are we going to do?
I don't know, honey.
I like the hats in this. Those hats must be around there for a long time in order for them to be iconic for this. Or this must be kind of. I don't want to say it's where it originated, but it's like been handed down through so many movies that when you're in the jungle, you wear that type of hat.
Well, what about you and Mary?
We'll stay in my hut. You must get that letter of Jeff's to England as quickly as possible.
You're not hurt.
My Mary.
All right, that was Tarzan the Fearless, and I want to thank you to the viewer who actually recommended this to me, and I actually did enjoy it more than I thought I would. I would describe it as a good family film. I do have a couple of like just questions about it and kind of like statements like for example just how they don't seem to have much setup story wise for the characters, like how they got to that point in the beginning to actually um, do the stuff that they do. Like we saw a little bit with Tarzan, like what his daily routine is, which is common in films, but we didn't see like what is the daily routine for the Zara people and the explorers that come to the jungle um, to do something. Also, what is the relationship with Tarzan and the father? How did that come about? What was he studying there in order to be there with Tarzan? Because he must have been there for a while, and Mary must have missed her father so much that she um, decided to look for um, her father. And in the process of doing, they run into Tarzan by way of the father. But so I'm seeing basically what I'm trying to sum up is um, you have a little bit more backstory before we actually get into the thick of things, which I think now that I've seen a film without that, even though it's without that, I see why now people filmmakers started to include a little bit more backstory besides just the main character of what they're doing. I want to know kind of exactly how he got there, how Tarzan got there, and how he is the heir to England, because that's kind of the whole I wanted to say plot, but I'm not sure that's the right word, but I'm going to say it anyway. Plot is that he is the heir to England. I do feel like I'm missing out on what people knew about Tarzan in the 1930s. So, is there a legend where Tarzan actually is um, a legend or mythology where Tarzan is the heir to England? Um, you know, they in recent times they talk about Tarzan and online um, being part of this Pixar theory, and the Pixar theory is basically all the movies take place on one giant timeline, and he is the Prince of Arendelle in that time. Um, so it kind of matches up with that. I'm just noticing similarities in that, and I kind of like that, but I don't have that knowledge like I do for the recent uh, Tarzan movies that have come out. It's established in my head, but since I don't have that background, I'm betting that this is not the first Tarzan movie that was ever made. Just because of the um, beginning um, opening message there, or the beginning opening text, then this is kind of a compilation of legends and stories that we know of Tarzan that was already set up. So the big sum of this to take away is that I wanted to see um, more character development at the beginning stages, and I don't think based on the 1930s film, um, that you're gonna get that in a 1930s film. Um, so somewhere down the line, in future, in the future films, we do start to see a little bit more character development in the beginning, um, which is a good thing. Um, Speaking about the rest of the movie, um, going forward and actually seeing what was um, depicted, I actually liked the plot and narrative. I just wish it was set up better, which I already covered just a second ago. Um, I want to know kind of what led his father to um, meet Tarzan and that's that sort of thing. Maybe he's the one that taught him a little bit of English, although it wasn't very correct. Although it does seem like the the father did not teach him much English, because they're at the end, they kind of left it out of the edit, but um, they're sitting down, looking at a picture book, and she's starting to teach him um, a little bit of English, and he's got his own words for animals, and she's got English word the English words for animals. I just wonder how he's able to communicate kind of so effectively with the other people. Um, because even the Czar people, they know English apparently, but I wouldn't think they would. And so I guess that's how he knows a little bit of English. But because Czar people have been around there you know, um, around been around there for generations, so he probably ran into them at some point and taught him English. That's what I'm gonna say in my head. Is that right there? Um, So that kind of makes sense. I felt that the Tsar people were a little bit underutilized. Um, because you have Tarzan that's worth $10,000 dollars and is the heir to England, and then you have these these jewels that are worth a lot of money, and I bet they would be, um, and yet they want to incorporate that story into it, which with Tarzan being um, with Tarzan being um, worth $10,000. Um, I feel like you really didn't need to set up the Tsar people as basically the monetary value in this, since you already had Tarzan be the monetary value. My question is, what is the actual point of um, what is the actual point if um, Tarzan's worth the money and the Tsar people are also there with money, and I can't think of one because they're both set up for monetary value, um, and yet um, and yet the Tsar people are just set up there for being robbed, which is also monetary value. So I don't think it was necessarily set up to explore their religion and culture and that sort of thing. So to me, it's kind of redundant, is what I'm trying to say overall. That you have the you know the Tsar people there, and we didn't really see anything that would um, connect their religion and culture to anything in the anything um, to take away or um, basically to take away from the film. So I guess the Tsar people to me are just not really needed, because you're just rehashing um, the same story over and over again. Um, and the funny thing to me now is, the funny thing to me is, um, the same people are after Tarzan and the jewels, and it's like, okay, bad guys, pick one to go after. You don't need to do both. You don't need to do both plot threads, but they still do that anyway. And mm, personally, to me, it doesn't feel like it's um you know just there for stretching out the runtime, but because they did enough with it, I guess, uh, to make it different and cool and awesome. I I didn't mind that that basically that little um, B plot, if you will, or C plot in this. I think it would be the C plot in this, but um, I didn't mind it. I just usually I mind it if films, stretch out their runtime like that. But I think there was, um, I think there was enough to make it different and entertaining and stuff like that. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Tsar people and their overall inclusion into the film, which I will say I think wasn't necessary, but I do appreciate that they attempted to do something with that, even though it's not something that I personally would have wanted in the film. The relationship between Mary and Tarzan, um, it is there, um, just uh, just not what I'm used to. Um, as far as you know, the scenes that are um, depicted there of their relationship. I did mention this in the reaction, but I do like the hand thing quite a bit. And I mentioned that maybe I don't know if that's a staple of Tarzan or if that's just kind of the legend or mythology around him. But I did like that in there, and that was awesome to see. So that wasn't just you know Disney's thing. That must be you know something that has been throughout most of the Tarzan movies ever made. So that was awesome to see. I really like that precursor, if you will, to that. I did like the animals um, scenes and stuff. Um, I don't know. I know the lion was a real thing, and um, I think the alligator was too. Actually, let me let me run that back. I think the lion was real. Like they had a professional lion. They had a professional monkeys and professional elephant. The alligator, though, may or not be real. Um, I think it might be, but then again, I I seriously um there if it is real, there had to be some type of um there had to be some type of regulation, I would imagine. Um, but not as restrictive as today would have been, but I don't know how exactly they pulled that off. Um, I did like the take of someone speeding up the footage when the horses are chasing her after she gets away from um, her captors when she gets kidnapped. I just thought that was kind of cool to actually see that. I think that's it, guys. I think I covered all that I wanted to um, talk about with this film. Let me know if there's something that I did not cover that you wanted me to give my thoughts on. Um, those were just the big main talking points that came to mind when I watched the film, as far as what I wanted to cover in the outro here. Um, did you have a similar reaction to me and what and kind of the stuff that I talked about in this outro? Or did you have a completely different reaction and something completely different that you wanted to discuss about this film? If you do want to discuss it, meet me down in the comments below, and we will have a conversation about this film because it does deserve to be uh, talked about. And leave them down in the comments below, and I will respond to them and give you my thoughts and opinions on things that I did not talk about in this outro. But overall, I gotta say that I like this film. Um, you know, would I watch it again? I would watch it again, but I would not do so. Um, without somebody that actually really wanted to see it. But I did actually enjoy my time with it, so it was actually a great suggestion, and I want to thank the person that that recommended I check this out because I did actually really enjoy my time with this film. It gave me a lot of things to look at, especially just how times have changed and looking at the way the actors are portrayed in this. And yes, it's film, and yes, they are acting a certain way for the film, but there is a certain amount of culture and tradition that comes out of film, even through um, even through the filmmaking process, and you can kind of pick up on that with what was generally accepted versus what is generally accepted and what is not generally accepted today, or even uh, 30 years from now. So it's kind of interesting to see that, and that's why I do these older films too. Is I want to see kind of the difference in thinking that people had, and the different culture and um, different different expectations on their movie going experience. Thank you to the person who recommended this movie. Um, I enjoyed my time with it. Please do recommend other movies for me to watch, and I will um, try and get to them when I can. Um, so uh, send them in, and if anybody else has any recommendations too, feel free to put them down in the comments down below, and I will see them and try to get to them. But with that, guys, that's gonna do it for me. If you like this video, uh, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.